Okay, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Mike Sasser, boudoir photographer here in Los Angeles, California. And today we are going to be talking about what to do when a potential client reaches out to you and asks for your services for cheaper. You know, when I was 10 years old, I used to sell these spinning tops. You'd throw them on the ground. And I remember even then for 10 bucks, somebody asked me if they could have it for cheaper. To a 10-year-old. And I thought for sure that was gonna be, the end of it when I was 10 years old. But, in my boudoir business, it still happens from time to time. After someone inquires, I typically try and get them on the phone. So I was chatting with this potential client and she mentioned that the photo shoot was $500, but how much were the pictures? Because I sell the pictures separately. When I told her that the album starts at around $1,200, I'll never forget what she said. She said, hold on, the album is more expensive than the shoot. That sounds a little ridiculous, and I don't understand how that even makes sense. So when I get a response like this, which is not uncommon, I go into my typical script of what to say when somebody tells me I'm too expensive, and I'm going to share that with you guys in just a moment. So after I explained everything to her and got off of the phone, she emailed me back about an hour later and said she was ready to book her shoot. She came in and had an amazing boudoir experience. She ended up spending around triple what she was planning to in the first place. And again, I'm gonna run you through that typical script of what I say when somebody says I'm too expensive. But first I wanna put together a little recreation of how this happens and what I recommend you definitely do not say. Or maybe you've said some of these things. I hope not. I just don't get TikTok. Oh, check this email here. New inquiry, perfect. Let's see, hello. I'm wondering how much photo shoots are. Excellent. The photo shoot is $495, album start $1,100, and most people spend around $2,500. When can I put you in the calendar? All right, TikTok. Oh, they wrote back. Let's see, that's crazy expensive. I found more established photographers in the area that cost half that. Can you do cheaper? Expensive? You know my camera costs more than a tiny car, not to mention hard drives, my computer to process the photos, I have to constantly get new shirts for my YouTube channel, the hours I put into honing my craft. Also, you can tell me how I'm not worth it? Guess what? The price just doubled. So this might be what we want to say sometimes, but it's important to take a deep breath, do a little woosah, and have a little chocolate to just calm down before you unload. They actually just opened up a Trader Joe's down the street, so now I can get these dark chocolate peanut butter cups whenever I want. So good. A few things to remember. First, they're emailing you back. They're talking to you on the phone because they want to hire you as their photographer, just at the other photographer's prices. Otherwise, they would just go hire that other photographer. So you have a tiny bit of leverage here. Two, sometimes they just aren't your client. I mean, there will be people that never value, what you charge for photography. This happens to me all the time. In fact, I had a phone call today where somebody said I was too expensive. And that's totally fine because there are plenty of people out there that will be so grateful to have you as their photographer and they'll be excited to pay your prices. And the third thing to remember, and this is hugely important, is that people spend money on what they value, not necessarily on just how much money they have. You'll see people in tiny, tiny, cheap apartments driving a luxury sports car, and you'll see people who make $500,000 a year drive a Prius. And that's because people are spending money on what they value. So what then is the correct response when somebody asks for your services for cheaper? This response is the culmination of talking with a bunch of different photographers to come up with this response that I think works best for me. So the client says, I found a photographer for cheaper, can you do it for their price? Or you're too expensive. And my response is, yes, there definitely are cheaper photographers out there, and I'm sure you will be happy enough hiring one of them. I work extremely hard to make sure you have all of the information that you need. There is a lot that goes into this experience, and I want you to have all of your questions answered. I take a limited number of shoots every month to make sure that every client gets 100% of my attention. This way I can make sure you have an unbelievable experience, that you get your photos back faster than anyone else, and at a much higher quality. And if those things things aren't important to you, I totally understand. I'm sure you'll be able to find a cheaper photographer that you'll be happy with, but my clients have been so grateful for the experience that I've given them. As you can see in the many testimonials that have been left for me on Yelp or Google or on my website, I'd be happy to send over a link to a few of those along with some other things that may answer some more of your questions. And if you change your mind, we can take a look at some dates for your boudoir experience. Now, it's very important that you keep this very positive and not accusatory. You're not telling them that they're wrong. You're not telling them that they value photography incorrectly. You're just saying that cheaper exists, and if they want cheaper, they can have cheaper, but if they want better, that's you. So the woman I said at the beginning of this video, she called me back within about an hour saying that she was ready to book her experience. We did it. She came in, she had an amazing time. She spent a few $1,000s on her pictures. Some people don't realize the value of something until they experience it. Now, there are definitely times when it makes sense to shoot for free or to lower your prices, and I'm gonna talk about that at the end of this video. But first, I wanna really break down that response and explain why it works. So people don't wanna be cheap, but they don't wanna overspend either. Saying that there are cheaper photographers out there implies that they won't be satisfied with those other options, and it's doing it in a pretty nice way. Now, talking about the benefits of your particular boudoir experience is going to be way more powerful than talking about the cost of running your business. This boudoir experience is about them. It's not about you, and nobody cares how much your camera costs. And don't be mad at these potential clients for not wanting to pay your prices or not being able to afford you. I mean, I guarantee it is way more difficult for them to say, I just can't, like, you're too expensive for me, I can't afford you. It's way more difficult for them to say that than it is for you to say, I can't lower my prices. Now, if you want to be really forward, my friend and wedding photographer Austin Trenholm, when a client says, hey, can you do it for this other photographer's price? He just tells them point blank, it sounds like you would rather hire me. Otherwise, you would have just hired that other photographer for cheaper and not called me back. That's bold, but it's the truth. Now let's talk briefly about when it does make sense to lower your prices. And that's anytime it's either a project that you really want to do or it's going to benefit you in a way outside of some monetary gain. So back when I was shooting weddings, I got an offer to shoot this amazing wedding in Spain. And I had not shot any weddings in Europe yet, so I was excited. The problem was, for the price that I would normally charge, they could only spend $1,000 less than that. Plus, they were going to cover the plane flight and 3 nights hotel stay. Do you think I did it? Of course I did it. I had a blast while I was over there. I could say I had shot a wedding in Spain. I had an amazing video for my portfolio, and it ended up being very worth it in the end. So if the benefits in some way outweigh the cost and the money you're getting paid, my recommendation is that you do it. Because I have shot for free countless times, I've shot at discounts countless times, and sometimes it pays off and sometimes it doesn't. Somebody says they want your services for cheaper, so you respond, I'm sure there are other cheaper photographers out there. The value of the photograph isn't just on the paper that it's printed on, it's in the quality of the photograph. You're paying for the complete experience, for the one-on-one with me, for the information that I'm sharing, for my professionalism, and if you don't see the value in that, that is totally fine. I'm sure you'll be happy with another photographer. And honestly, if somebody doesn't value that, you probably don't want to book them as a client anyways. I guarantee there's someone around the corner who does value those things, and they will be so excited to book with you and spend whatever it is that you cost. If you like more exclusive videos like this, designed specifically to help you out with your boudoir business, I have a full online course with over 25 videos and PDF outlines to help you guys start earning money with your boudoir business. You can join literally thousands of other photographers who have decided to start following their passion with boudoir photography by clicking right over here. Make sure to subscribe, and if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to ask, and I will see you next week.